What do you think? What are
I
some of
mean,
your
to be
suggestions?
fair, is that we've never really been great at titles for our shows anyway,
Absolutely.
right?
I wait till the last second. I always do, and that's my fault. But I like, hey, so what do we think? I mean, we know obviously the beginning part, but
Right.
let me
Well,
have
yeah,
some of your ideas.
the beginning part of our title of our show is the best of our week. So we've got that. We know what that part's going to be,
It's a
and
great
then
recipe.
we just have to wait until like the last possible minute. If there's any news, I mean, like news could have broke at like 9 p.m. Pacific time. We'd want our show to reflect that. And
Yeah,
if we're not on
be
the
right on
pulse,
top of it. Yeah, we have to be right on the pulse, middle of the night
sure.
news
So,
coverage here.
so I just want to share with folks tuning into the stream, naming an episode of a podcast is really precious. I mean, it takes a lot of
Absolutely.
work, it takes a lot of legwork, it takes a lot of like investment. You really got to be on it. You really got to think, what is it that we're gonna call this podcast? So I started off. I kicked it off. TK reached out and he was like, "Hey, what do
What
you
do you think?
think? What do you think?" And so this is the first title I came up with, and this is real. I mean, we've got the texts between TK and I to confirm if anything.
I have the yeah, we have the actual text. That's why I'm reading it because I don't want to butcher it. This is literally a conversation
So this was
right
this
before
was
the
my
show.
first title. My first title was quote Galaxy S21 Big Oof. I thought that summed it all up. I thought like that was a good title, but you were like, no, it's way
Yeah,
too short.
it's way too short, right? I mean, come on, can you imagine? I mean, we have a lot of characters we can go with, and that's why I was actually when I came back to that, I was going to say the best of our week, episode 5, and I was going to say Galaxy S21, a hit or a flop. So I was trying to shoot in
Okay.
the direction that you're
Okay.
in
Like
there a little bit.
asking a question, kind of mixing it
Yeah,
in there.
the good and the bad kind of thing. But
Okay, but
is it a
you,
hit
you
or
hit me with that, and I felt like that's kind of tame, like
okay?
it's
Not edgy enough. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
right. You really got to kind of like hit the emotions. You really got to get people where they live, and so obviously my first one was too short, so I
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
correct for that, and so my second title was, best of our week, episode 5, Galaxy S21. Samsung launches a phone that will make YouTube reviews even less relevant to the average consumers that reviewers pretend to defend, but who aren't really out there buying $800 phones. I thought like, hey, now I've got it. My first one was way too short. This one's really, spelling out the detail and
You
making sure people know what we're all about.
you hit it right there on the nail, but
Yeah.
we do have a
Yeah.
character limit. There is a
Oh,
limit in there.
yeah.
Title can only be 100 characters, and it sounds like you're trying to write a book in there, trying to tell them exactly how you
Yeah.
feel after this
You're
amazing day.
right. Looking back on it, it's a paragraph. I mean,
It's
it's probably a
it.
little long.
Yeah, I think we should do so here. Okay, I realize the first one may not have been right on the point. So I'm thinking, how about the Galaxy S21, the compromise edition?
Okay.
It kind of
Okay.
it's leaning into that
Throwing
conversation.
some punches.
You a
You know,
little bit, yeah,
I was like, okay. I feel where you're going with that. I mean,
yeah.
I'm with you. Compromise edition, and we're all super sensitive about compromises. So I like, okay, let me take this and let me use your last title, right? Because you had like that
Okay,
back and forth. You had like maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. So leaning into compromises is best of our week, episode 5. Obviously, we take
okay.
that for granted. And then Galaxy S21, an apple flavored Kalama fudge of disastrous proportions, or a mediocre spec bump? Question mark.
Mark.
Yeah, feeling me? Feeling me?
I'm on the floor rolling. That's how I'm feeling here at this point. I'm not, I was like, by the time when I saw that text, I was like, okay, I see what he's doing. He's trying to
I
drive me into the wall. He's just,
like sent you like 4 texts. Like, okay, now go with me here. Go with me
I
for just a second. What if?
what if we just go off the wall and just start going with that? The reality of the matter at the end of the day, we really need to hit the point on the, hit the conversation. So for me, it was a very, I mean, we settled. Obviously, we did settle on a title, which,
Just like Samsung settled, we had to
on
settle too.
we had to kind of lean into it. We had to take ownership of it. The fact that that's where the whole title comes in today, which essentially we seem like we're seeing them taking pages out of Apple's playbook. Realistically, I mean that was partially what was my last title as well. I wanted to basically, it was like Samsung, getting a copy in Apple's playbook or a page from Apple's playbook. Aditya, I like that one. Aditya jumps in with the never
Never
settle.
settle.
Yes, the slogans are always amazing. Rolando's in the chat, Vince is in the chat. Actually, we have quite a few, Twitch streamers today jumping in with us as well. So, with that being said, let's just do you want to start off with the impressions of the I would say the biggest event of the day, I guess, since this is what's happening right now. This is our finger on the pulse right there.
How
Um,
about this? Let's play the game of just feels. We don't need to break down.
okay.
I feel like those of us, those folks who are in our live chats and catching our streams. I mean, we're going to go through this in more detail and more depth, but like,
Yeah.
y'all know pretty much what got announced. I mean, and the main thing that we're going to be focused on in our communities are the phones.
Yep.
I I guess especially thanks to leak culture and all of the rumors and leaks that have been surrounding this phone basically since the S20 came out. Because as soon as the S20 was out, that was dead, and it's not a topic that generates buzz anymore or hype anymore. So we've been on the roller coaster ride of hyping the leaks and rumors of the
Hmm.
S21. I guess to be fair, since the Note came out last year,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I critically disappointed but not surprised. I mean, my general feels like this is exactly the direction that Samsung's been leading us for a while now, and so none of this is a surprise. But I'm super disappointed that this is the train that Samsung is on.
Yes. And for me, it was there was a there wasn't actually much. So okay. So the things that I wanted to learn outside of the leaks that are obviously, as you said, it was already leaked it was already leaked. Like 99% of the information we saw today on the launch during the launch was leaked. So there wasn't really much for the surprise on my end. There was a couple of little features that I got interested in that I felt like I think was it called the director mode that was interesting to me. Um,
Yeah, just like on my TCL 10 Pro,
yeah,
where I can see all the different cameras all at the
all
same
the
time.
different cameras at the same time. It's that was about mostly the only feature that I saw that I didn't see in the leaks. Oh, and the fact that we lost all of the SD card, that amazing new feature is really exciting for me.
Yeah,
That was
a lack of SD card is the feature that people have been clamoring for. I think
a
since like the Galaxy S6. So
many people have said it since the S6. They've wanted to lose the SD card, and I
I
think we
just
finally have
need
it.
I need to reduce the weight of my phone by that fraction of a gram, and finally Samsung is giving us that weight reduction. And it's pretty impressive that they were able to reduce
It
that feature out.
and if you remember what happened last time, though, during the S6, the S7 brought it back.
Oh,
It's
it's not
because
coming back. No,
oh,
no,
I
no,
no,
no, no.
no, this time I
No.
think this time is for good.
It,
I
it,
really don't see anybody coming back into um
again, thanks to the Note, we know Samsung will stick to their guns on charging the same or more for reduced experience
yeah,
generated.
but that's the thing. Yeah, if you watch the whole event, it was presented as if this was the next best thing. Um, this is intended to be, in my opinion, when I was looking for this, I was looking for it to be a successor to the S20. I really wanted to see the successor to this guy. Okay, this guy for me was an upgrade from the S10. This truly felt, regardless of the issues of the S20 and what the concerns are with the Ultra and whatever with
Yeah.
the cameras, it felt like an upgrade to me from
Mhm.
the S20. Sorry, from the S, was it the S10?
S10. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I forget the whole, jumping from the 10 to the 20, and now we're back to incremental. Um,
Hmm.
Bigger battery, faster charging, larger sensor, a larger display, QHD, high
Sure.
refresh rate.
Yeah.
Those are things I was excited about. Today, I felt like Samsung gave us what we should have had last year for the S20 with the display. I mean, it was
Yeah.
there. We had a Q. We could have done it.
Sure.
But then from that point on, I felt like it was a series of compromises. I really felt like it was a series of, even on the Ultra. This is the weird. That what got me kind of really frustrated. The loss of okay, so the lack of the SD card was the first hit. I was
Hmm.
like, even on the Ultra, wow, okay. Then um, we get the same size battery, but we get slower charging. And I truly mean slower charging. I know it's fast charging as it's advertised, but the S20 Ultra supported 45-watt charging. The
Yeah.
S21 does not.
No.
So that was the
Why
thing.
would you need that feature on an $800 phone?
because I've been
TK, you're not
apparently.
thinking about average consumers,
That is
okay?
true.
Average
That is true.
consumers don't do things on their phone. They don't use their phones. They never
They
need
leave
to
it on the
charge their
charger
phone
for yeah,
quickly.
they leave it on the charger and they walk away, right? They don't ever
Yeah,
use their phone.
you know, you are grossly overestimating the value proposition of a premium priced gadget and how people never use their premium priced gadgets to do anything more than speed run through social media apps. And that's
Oh,
it.
run benchmarks. Don't
That's
forget
it.
run
And
benchmarks.
so
That's
now,
what
I
they do.
mean, I'm happy. Every decision that Samsung made is the correct decision because Samsung is popular. So it doesn't
It
matter that I was defending, weird things or different features or expandability or higher resolution displays. Last year was the right time to defend those features because Samsung included them.
Yep.
Now it's the right time to not be bothered by those features missing because Samsung I mean, basically, as long as Samsung says it's cool, then that's the only thing that matters.
Well, but that's what's gonna be what we hear too. That's the weird part of the conversation. I
Oh,
think it's the
it's already. I mean, like when they pulled Magstripe,
mm,
I can't
MST,
remember who it was.
Android headlines. I think it's
Yeah, it
Android
was
headlines.
like,
Yeah.
oh, but
Mag
NFC is so broadly adopted now, and like BS, it is.
My grocery store that I go to this day does not accept Google Pay or Apple Pay. It only accepts Samsung. They know it by name because when anybody brings up Samsung, they know that it supports the Magstripe. And again, this is really, I'm feeling like the S21 is the S21 Compromise Edition because of the things that they removed. And the only new feature they added was an accessory that you have to buy separately for $70 to get a case and the S Pen. And it literally is this S Pen. It's not a
Mm.
new S Pen. It's the S Pen that comes with the Tab S7 or the S7 Plus if you've ever used it. So I'm already ready for that. I got the S Pen. Uh, but they teased the S Pen Plus, which will probably come later in the year, that gives the Note features. But
And again, it's
I
coming
just
later
felt
in
like
the year, so hopefully you've already bought an S Pen, and then they can sell you another S Pen
S
Plus
Pen Plus,
later
which
on,
would make
because that's the
perfect sense.
correct thing to do. TK, I'm very upset that you are not more concerned about Samsung's profit margins.
I,
I,
apparently, I'm
I,
not. I'm worried
I'm
about
just
my pocket
mom
margins,
bless
but
you.
yes.
The only thing that matters, for your YouTube revenue and your YouTube views is making sure that you are in perfect lockstep with every decision that Samsung makes for their bottom line.
Absolutely, and it seems like they feel like
Nah, I mean,
you
I'm
know, and
obviously,
I don't want to turn I don't want to turn it into the TK rants about what what things are
no,
not
I
included.
think I feel like this is the appropriate forum for TK to
It's
rant
just
a little. It's
it, I I don't know. How do okay, based on what they've done, I realized. Don't get me wrong. There are some things that they've done, obviously, to improve certain things that they've considered. So
no,
they improved the camera
no,
supposedly.
no.
They're no,
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 see,
no.
this is what's so frustrating and why I mean, like, I was mostly joking about this, like, oh, it's a calamafudge of disastrous proportions or a mediocre spectrum.
It is absolutely, but
Samsung hasn't done anything to improve over the Galaxy S20.
no,
Qualcomm,
no,
I think,
yes,
deserves some credit for trying
n-
to fix how terrible the separated modem situation was from the 865. And
yeah,
so now in the 888, we're going to have much better carrier aggregation. That is going to be a benefit for roaming, for improving signal strength and stability, for radio
yeah,
management, antenna management, and also just hopefully it reduces some of the power draw. Hopefully it's a more efficient radio stack as well. Samsung didn't do it.
yeah.
Qualcomm did.
Oh,
So
absolutely, absolutely.
I feel bullet point for bullet point for bullet point, the major advantages S20 over S21 have almost nothing to do with Samsung.
No, it
It's
truly is. At least
same
it's a
phone.
Qualcomm.
It's
Mhm.
slightly more powerful. You know,
Again, Qualcomm. It's the same phone with compromises. It's a
and
spec bump. It's a spec
the,
bump with what Qualcomm did again.
the only thing I want to give Samsung is they finally figured out that if you have a raised camera module, maybe it shouldn't be glass. So
so that
kudos.
so
I'm
we don't
glad that like
so I don't have to put a glass protector on the back of my phone as much
so,
as I
so
put it
over
on the front.
two whole generations and product lines of phones, you finally figured out that having a giant domino raised in glass off the back of your phone
Yeah.
was
No.
always a
Oh,
bad
we got
idea
our
that
first freeze.
everyone could figure out. You coming back to me, bud?
Do
We
we
there?
actually? Okay, we're back. we
I'm
had our
pretty sure that's you, man.
Oh no, I swear I try not to. Okay, so with that being said, yeah, I actually I missed the last maybe 10, 15 seconds, 10 seconds or so, or whatever, roughly what he said. So
Mhm.
to the point that you were saying, I cool. I don't know. I had you frozen in a very nice pose. Um, it is to me, if I'm looking at it realistically, I don't feel like it's an upgrade. I feel like it's a
No, I mean, so
uh,
we were
it,
joking around about it, but I'm going to call this back because
mhm,
I feel like in sort of joking around on it, we totally nailed it. The
mhm.
Galaxy S21 is not a way for Samsung to cut into their profit margins and charge less for an S20. It was a way for Samsung to charge more
More.
for an FE. And now the the S21 exists just like a regular Note 20. It is a pain point compromised phone that exists mostly to encourage an upsell to a
To the
Plus
Ultra.
or to an Ultra. And if
Oh,
you want
actually,
the
to the Ultra
full,
now. Yeah, it's because the Plus isn't as much better than the standard model, with the exception of a few differences. The reality is, it truly is trying to bump you up to the Ultra, because I don't think the Plus really
totally.
answers all
No,
of
no,
the
no.
things that we were expecting.
No, and it doesn't. But what I mean is like it's a pain point to try and encourage. If you care about a few other just slightly nicer features or a nicer build quality, well, there's the plus. And if
Hmm.
you care about that premium tier smartphone experience,
It's the
you
best of the
gotta go
best
all
of
the way
what
to
they're
the
what they
ultra.
have to offer. You have to, and with the
You have to
expand with the remove.
overbuy on a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Well, and not only that, and now because we don't have the SD card option, you have to buy in the higher memory options. So by
Mhm,
default, they have the 128, 256, and 512 models. So to
mhm,
me, it was weird that in their presentation there was a slide. There was actually a caption part that shows you the step jumping between each memory card option, each memory option that you get, and it's a $50 to go double on the first, but to go double from 256 to 512, it's an extra hundred and something. So
mhm.
it's a total, and it's, like they 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 I just it's a weird thing. Like obviously I use their devices. I've been using them for years. I actually like what Samsung's did in the past. I'm not against it. My concern is that their focused view on the bottom line has been so precise that at this point I don't think they're realizing that they're starting to alienate some of their own users by doing things like this. Somebody that has, and this is where I'm trying to say, if you follow me, if somebody bought, let's say, an S21, an S20 last year, an example of me, I'm just going to use myself as an example. I bought the 128 model last year, and because I had an SD card on the Ultra, I have my 256 gig there, and I have my content. I transfer it from one device to the other. I don't like leaving my pictures and my videos and all of those
Mhm.
things. I like to shoot in 4K all the time, and those are things I care about. Now those things take space, so I offload all of that to my SD card. Right now, if I was to upgrade from the S20 to the S21 Ultra, same thing.
Nerp.
I uh, you know what I mean? For me, I have to go with an extra fee. I have to pay more for the storage, which probably won't even hold all my content. This is the weirdest part of this conversation. So to me, at the end of the day, they're piecemealing this conversation, and we talked about this last week. We this is no new information and no surprises. Realistically, it was they're really. I think somebody was even really happy or really hopeful to see an S21 FE, because at the end of the day, we want to see what they do with that. The S21, like you said, is a price point. It's
Yeah.
truly a price point saying, "Hey, look, we're starting at 799. We dropped our base price. That's the range, 799 to 1200."
Yeah. But
And
But
I don't know.
Samsung has got all the hot SEO for a company that spends $10 billion a year on advertising. So if you want to stay
Yeah.
on the gravy train, you've got to do all of those hot takes. And I don't know, I've got some concerns, but if you're buying a new phone, I mean, this is going to be the best experience to offer. I'm looking at this beat for beat, spec for spec. Buy an S20. I know it's a little harder to find because they actually got pulled from a lot of carrier lineups.
Most carriers are, yeah, they've literally
But
everything's like, it's almost like they turned the page. Everything is done.
pretty much,
Swappa is your friend, by the way. Yeah.
yeah, because every piece
Hashtag
of
not
this,
sponsored.
if you wanted that, yeah, we
I,
should start poking around for some
I
sponsorship.
should get in touch with Swappa. I know a couple people there. I'm like, we really should. If nothing else, I sell enough things on their site and buy things off their site that we should get. There's no reason why we shouldn't get sponsored. But I do. Before we go too far, I do want to see if we can answer this question. Omar El Merwe. Hopefully, I'm saying that correctly. Is asking, is it worth upgrading from the to the S21 Ultra from the Note Ultra?
I'm going to say no. I'm also going to say I feel this is going to be probably the worst year in my entire gadget reviewing career to try and justify a 1-year upgrade out of Samsung.
So, and
I
this is
cannot
not
make
even a year. This is like months. We're talking 4
No, but
months,
I'm
5
saying
months.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm willing to give Samsung the buffer of phone what launched in 2020 versus phone what launched in
Launched in
2021.
2021. Yeah.
And I can usually point to a demographic. I can usually point to a community. There's a niche kind of consumer out there who might benefit from this new feature, these new things. The
Yep.
only thing I'm looking forward to on new Samsungs is better radio management. And that's not so high up on my list of priorities
Expertise.
in a 5G world where we're still trying to expand 5G into more markets,
Yep.
that
Yep.
I can ever comfortably say, man, if you've got a decent phone from last year, this new Galaxy is the place to be. Especially when I would highly recommend taking the slight hit to processing power you probably won't be able to tap very often and
Yep.
go with the S20, which has the same cameras, has expandable
Fi-
storage,
It
has
has
better
5G.
build quality.
Mhm.
It still has 5G.
I was gonna say, if you were like, well, yeah, but 5G is the big thing. It has 5G. Check. All of those things are there, which is really where, yeah, I echo the same statement. 2020 to 2021 is not the upgrade cycle. This is not going to um, give you that satisfaction of the, yes, I'm running the latest and greatest. This is the best thing ever since sliced bread. The reality of the matter, I feel like this is an upgrade for somebody that maybe is on there for 3 years. But again, I would still say go for the S20. I feel like the compromises are the things that were removed out of this device to make it a successor to make it a predecessor to the S21. There's a lot of things that you're losing as like a step. You know what I mean? Like you normally expect a step, even if it's a minor step, a spec bump of up, you expect it to go up. This is truly a down. Even with the 888, the 888 provides obviously the experience that you want. There's power management, better, 5 nanometer chipset. There's a lot of things into the 888.
But
I
show me
don't
what you're doing that tapping an 865 is going to be
won't
such a horrific compromise. And
exactly, and that's and
I
the Note 20
just
Ultra.
don't believe
No.
that.
It's factual. There really is.
Well, and especially coming from the reviewer side too, because like how many times do I show like crazy phone benchmarking? Like, let me show you editing raw files from a Sony or
Oh,
you know,
they did.
rendering video.
Samsung showed that you could edit videos now on their Note 20 Ultra, which is apparently a neat
Wow,
feature.
really? You can edit videos on a Note 20 Ultra now?
And
You only needed to spend
and
$1,400?
and get
Really?
this. Here's the deal breaker. You could use a pen for an extra $70 and do precise function on the S20 on the S21.
That's
I don't think they've ever
amazing.
had that feature before. That
No,
doesn't
I don't think
exist.
that's ever existed before. I don't think you could
No,
ever do that. You could never do that. Ever, ever, never.
no,
This is
no.
so new. This is brand new. This is
It is.
here. This is cutting edge.
And nobody's talking about it in any of their videos. This is one of those things I'm surprised.
But that's what I'm frustrated by is like every time I point that kind of stuff out, I've got a bunch of people regurgitating other tech influencers.
Mhm.
Yeah, like who's really, I mean, yeah, it's such a nice luxury and privilege to be able to own nice computers and nice cameras and only use your nice phone to cover the basics. Like I'm so tired of that color of commentary where here I'm going to pick up this $1,000 plus phone, but I'm only going to use it to do the absolute bare minimum social media, and that's not the gig. And so
Yep.
if you're not trying to use your phone for laptop displacement style computing,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm looking it up on Swapper right now. A Galaxy S20 5G, an S20 plus 5G, is easily found around $500.
The
I mean,
S20 Ultra is about $680. The Ultra.
I'm and you know what? I would even maybe say walk away from the Ultra because I do feel Samsung kind of failed on the autofocus, especially when you were looking at the space zoom. That
No,
might
no,
be the
absolutely.
one perk over the S21 Ultra is you can finally use the camera.
Like I said, I was trying to find the silver lining of the Y, but I can
But
tell you right now, it never was unusable. The way it was described, the way it was
I don't know, man.
depicted,
I was poking around that note, and it is very spookily inconsistent. And for me, that becomes a
and
question
that
of
was the improvement.
reliability.
That was the improvement.
And that's
That
the
was
improved version.
improvement. Yeah, yeah,
I mean, like, so this is also compounded by the fact that one of the highlights of my week for our podcast called The Best of Our Week
yeah.
is Sony is letting me borrow test drive an
Oh,
A7
nice.
S3.
So,
Um,
dude, welcome to the club. That's what we're talking about right now.
I mean, I'm not using it for this stream, but going from
Tisk, my friend. How can you not use the best
but
camera you have in the office?
playing with Sony autofocus on the Xperia
Oh,
when
Sony did a trick on me this week. Did you get the update?
oh,
Did you get an
yes,
update? Yeah.
made me so crazy.
I was so happy. I was like, yes, it's finally here. I
Uh,
updated and it was like, no, it was a security patch update. I was like, what? Come on,
I
Sony. We
in
need
fact,
it. We need this happening.
and what's funny is I just got a heads up like on Reddit that the Android 11 updates are starting to roll out
On
for
the original. Oh, the original?
the
Really?
original Xperia one, and like we don't even have Android 11 on the Xperia one Mark II
On the
yet.
Xperia. Okay. Well,
But,
I'm
sorry,
sorry. I'm not bagging. It was just,
the,
yeah.
the
I
point I
figured
was
you.
trying to get at and getting back to Samsung is
Yeah.
this echo chamber, this toxic little echo chamber that just trumps up Samsung, and
Mhm.
it's not earned. I'm sorry. You use these devices and they're good. They're very good devices. They
Yeah. No,
do not deserve the de facto, this is the standard that represents Android. And one of the things that really leaned into me for that was using the Note 20 Ultra,
Mhm.
how spookily inconsistent that autofocus was, and then picking up an Xperia where it's like Skynet image recognition. My daughter's running around and it goes
It's
snick, and there's a
crazy.
little green
It's
box on her eye, and
it's
it's
crazy good.
so fast.
Crazy. Alpha level crazy good. But yes, no, but I'm happy that you're able to check out that because I think you played with the A7 III. They
Mhm.
let you borrow the A7 III last year, I think, or something like that, right? I
So
remember we talked about it because they let me borrow a few lenses for the A7 III last year, and
yeah.
it was a lot of fun. So full frame Sony, baby. That's
But
all I
also
have to
it's
say.
like from my Panasonics. I mean, like this is my G85. That's what I kind of stream on. I have a
Yeah.
ridiculous camera to stream on, and I've got a G9 that I shoot most of my actual content on, and it's doing fine. It really is. It's a fine camera. Oh man, this is so tempting. This is like really hard not getting pulled over to the Sony side playing with this camera.
Yeah, yeah. I bit the bullet when I went with the A7 III, and then from there I had to change my main camera. So I switched from from Lumix, or sorry, from Panasonic.
Mhm.
I went over. So I got rid of. I didn't get rid of it. I sold my GH5, and I think Rolando did the same thing. Um, I love it. I love the fact, and now I'm buying more lenses for it. Full frame all the way, my friend. Uh, but yeah, I wish we could hang out. I wish we could go to the Japanese garden again and take pictures with the brand new A7S III that
And
you have.
I was just messing around. I'd just gotten the memory card in. I just attached the lens. I mean, I don't even know how to use this camera yet. You know, you get that organic feel for where all the buttons are.
Absolutely.
Lexington's running in, and I'm in manual mode,
Hmm.
and you know, I hadn't set any of the settings, but just on a whim, I kind of tilt the camera up and I half press the button, and it locks on her eye, and I push the shutter button while she's like running around, and the photo is just crystal. It is just tack sharp.
Yep.
It's
It's crazy.
insane. And
Well,
and,
I
and like,
hope they included a few lenses. I obviously they probably
I
did.
mean, all they did to run with, and here I'll yank it over here, is the 1635 f2.8, and it's
Okay.
just kind of like a general, you know, test it out. But what
Look
they
at
did do,
you. They gave a cage. I
well,
like.
because you know, I focus a little bit more on video these days, and that was one of the major things, is I want a camera that has the flip around
So that's actually, so
screen.
just for reference, they say the A7 III is more of a photography camera. The A7S III is more of a video, although they perform well both ways. But from a videographer, it's really more of a video camera.
And so because that's what I was talking to them about, they were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, hey, we also have a small rig. Do you want it?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
So
And
totally weird story. I actually have one on order that's coming from B&H, which is weird. It's the only one you can find, by the way. I don't know if you've ever looked it up. It's the only cage setup that you have that you can find like a decent one that works.
yeah.
I've been having a little weird setup here with the A7S III that I have with the camera, and I'm trying to separate and trying to build things around. And I want to stabilize my HDMI cable and run the wire. So the whole concept for me, absolutely. I hope you like it. If you decide to switch over, welcome to the club. If you don't, it's okay. It's a Sony. It'll bring
I'm
you back.
probably not gonna budget for this year, but
This one
man,
is, yeah.
it's gonna be itching at me the whole
It's a
time.
steep price. Yeah. You put you put the camera in the lens, and you might as well just skip mortgage payments at that point. I saved up a lot for a while, but yes, congrats.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And
Uh,
we've got a bunch of comments and stuff in here, and I mean, like, Natalie has been talking about, you know, sort of Exynos performance and
yes. And
and
I was actually going to say Andrew's in the comments as well. So we saw some leaks. We saw some leaks with the S21, sorry, the Exynos benchmarks and stuff, and they're trying to basically do comparisons between the two. Let's just get this one real quick out of the way. I want to say thanks to
oh
Armadillo Tech,
hey,
our old buddy.
thanks for the
I
super chat.
have I there's a massive shipment of things that I'm waiting for. Apparently, that got sent over to me by Armadillo Tech. Thank you very much. That is waiting for me in my PO box, and I need to go pick up. So, with that being said, thank you very much for the super chat. Always appreciated. Let me see if we can grab. Hold on. So there's Josh, our buddy Josh Quinones. I want to
Oh,
say,
hey Josh.
congrats on the ad. Congrats on the first. He was featured in a Verizon ad that also came out. Very big buddy of mine there from a while back.
Right on.
Andrew, Mr. Fat Produce. I've been too spoiled with dual screen phones to be excited for any regular single screen slab devices. That is true. That's the one feature we missed out on this year. We didn't see that. But you were talking about. Hold on, let me see real quick. Are you able to select comments, or is it only on my side since
I
I'm
don't
young?
think I can do it. I'm not driving this boat.
Oh, here it is, Natalie. Okay, I see. Natalie was it was more close. Okay, so here. Okay, we had a few from Natalie. It was actually one. Okay, a few in a series. So first, so Natalie Roth is saying is not to mention the new embargo. Every reviewer not to talk about the Exynos performance.
Well, here's what I want to. I mean, not necessarily to kind of comment on that, but
Yeah,
this is the thing that is so critically frustrating about our industry, and why I'm kind of over
yeah.
watching a lot of tech reviews. Is not that you guys shouldn't stop watching our shows, because we're awesome. You should keep watching us.
Totes always. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Totes my goats. So
Yes.
the thing that bothers me is we've got like a week where a new gadget or a new piece of tech is super buzzworthy hot on social
Hmm.
media, and then it ebbs out.
Yeah.
And Samsung hasn't even started shipping this generation of Exynos, and we're already on the hype train because Well, AMD announced a partnership with Samsung, and we're going to be talking about some AMD
AMD GPUs.
GPUs.
Yeah.
So this entire year for Samsung is basically a non-starter. You should just wait until, I mean, we're already rumor milling and hyping next year's Exynos before any of this year's chipset
are even out,
have even made it into anyone's hands.
and consumers' hands, because there's a few reviewers that have them, but
the advertising arm of YouTube for Samsung at this point, and especially with my own personal experiences with Samsung as a brand, if you're on Sam Apple's teams and you're getting that kind of early access, it's because they know there's going to be a particular flavor of narrative that is going to be a highlight feature reel, not someone that's actually critically analyzing the phone, and whether or not it's a hater or someone who actually I feel delivers
all of the stuff we saw today was very top level, very
surface
level. Very surface level, which is
from Microsoft's lessons last year. I think all manufacturers are now going to be highly manicuring.
I was about to hit on that point right away. That whole first, oh my god, the duo where everybody could not show the screen. There was no way.
Let's reenact the early duo embargo release.
That first week.
Wow, and that was it. That's all you could do.
I was going to say, and can you show us the screen? Not yet. No. But after the launch, after you can get it at the store, the day of.
No, TK, no. Bad TK.
Oh man,
driving to Best Buy and looking at this offer.
I was about to say that was the only reason why I drove to almost 6 Best Buys to find that phone, because nobody could do it.
No. Bad.
Best Buy will not let me in anymore.
You're a scamp, TK.
They have a face picture. Yeah. But in all honesty, yes, this is the week that most people are going to be searching, looking, really, like where the word S21 is going to be really just there, is the week that we're probably not going to see very much in-depth analysis. We're probably going to see them more closer to the actual launch event. That's typically what we see when people are able to actually buy it. So closer to the end of the month. But we'll see a few pieces here and there. Today, my entire timeline was S20, S21. And the timing, just to kind of echo Natalie's comment, they embargoed the timing of the videos of the creators, the YouTube creator realm, I guess, at the beginning of the launch, which for me was, I didn't really need to watch the launch. I got what I needed out of a couple of YouTube videos, which the launch didn't talk anything about the SD card. They didn't talk about the MST. They didn't talk about all the things that I really cared, like the fast charging being only 25 and all those things.
You missed the explanation of the color black, where they spent more time on the color black than they did any other feature on the phone.
You mean this black?
No, Samsung invented black, phantom black.
Phantom black.
TK, I mean, you're holding up mirror black. That's different, and that
is true. I can see myself in this. I can see you. Can you see yourself in this?
Just the fact that you just held that up to the camera makes me want to throw up in my mouth, because
I'm not even letting it focus.
Is the now. You're living in the past. Okay. That is so 2020, and we're all over 2020. 2020 was bad, and anything that came out of 2020 is bad. So they reinvented black, and I mean, like, I'm being really pissy here about this, but yeah, they spent more time talking about the design language of a new frosted matte finished glass back. And let me take that back. In second place, they spent almost as much time talking about how, like, portrait mode and selfies work. I mean, for this revolutionary new camera system, which is the exact same camera system that we had on the S20s and the Note 20s.
I was going to say there's like, not much, and not only that, One UI 3.0 has already been out. This is not earth-shattering. Okay, so they invented they invented black, which I'm happy they finally did. Phantom black, you said. I don't know.
Which
I guess this is not good enough anymore. Then I'm gonna
which
have to
again,
straight up.
I just want to point this out. You know, like they were talking about director mode, and I've got like a multicam selector mode on my TCL 10 Pro. But if you had to make me choose, I kind of like gradient gray to black.
I like gradients a lot. OnePlus did a really good job for a while till they changed the coloring concept. But yeah, gradient. Remember the Thunder Purple
Mm.
OnePlus 6T?
Yeah,
That
I've got it
Thunder
right over
Purple.
there.
Yeah.
It's over in my
So
bookcase. I'm never letting that phone go. It's so pretty.
as aesthetics, the design, the colors, OnePlus, I have to say, they make some really nice limited edition, which we haven't seen. By the way, other than the Cyberpunk edition, we haven't really seen much in the last year or so. That was
Mm.
something I miss. Like I remember was it with the 7 Pro, right? They had like 4 colors, and there was that almond color one. That was like that
Yeah, I
unique,
mean, last year I kind of feel it was just the OnePlus 8. Got that really dynamic, like rainbow hyper.
super nice, shiny, interesting color. I like. Don't get me wrong. I love the color on the OnePlus 8 Pro. That was a nice color, and then the Nord kind of went with that whole, say greenish tone, depending on how you look at it. Short answer: we need gradients, and okay, so they have new colors. They didn't talk anything about the. I don't know. Anyways, it's one of those weird things. At the end of the day, base storage of 128 is also echoing the same thing we had with the whole Note series, right? They started them all with at 128, but then you don't have expandable storage with the standard Note 20. You have to go to the Note 20 Ultra to get it, but then apparently the Note 20 Ultra, I think, is the last Samsung phone to carry an SD card. I don't think that's going to come back with the Note 21 or whatever they called, if there is a Note series. I think
No.
this is literally they've drawn the line and they said this is basically where we're going. There's no reason to add that, and you should just basically keep buying higher memory storage. And I think Natalie had a really good point there, where she said, I think the base storage at so I think it's $11.99 for the base storage on the S20 Ultra, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, to get the higher end, you're in the $1,300 to get those things
And yeah, like I can look at some other phones. I mean, like we can point to OnePluses that have never had expandable storage,
for the longest time. Yeah,
and I get kind of like the back and forth, and I can understand in a market where Apple kind of gets to dictate what the future trends are going to be for profitability. I understand. I don't
there's
want my
yeah,
Samsung to be more like an iPhone. I used to love Samsung because they were in almost every respect the opposite
opposite exactly. Yep.
of an iPhone, and now we keep running into this casual lack of education. Well, I mean, consumers aren't doing these, using these features that we never talk about. And you're like, you could still put out a commercial today saying like, "Hey, isn't it silly how much more you need to spend to upgrade the storage of your phone? Wouldn't it be better if you just popped in a memory card?"
Card
That is
that
a thing.
That
And
was their
and
thing. That was their
yeah,
story. That was their whole.
I'm sad because I'm getting the sneaking suspicion that we're probably going to see a bunch of other manufacturers copy this move.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very curious. Like, follow up LG, is it going to have a headphone jack? Is it going to have a quad DAC? Is it going to
Re
have memory card expansion?
Restoration.
I'm really
We
anxious.
may be on it. We may be so for reference though. I do need to I do need to mention that there's always been the conversation of the I would say it is a conversation to internal storage versus expandable storage. And what I mean by that is access and read and write, and of course, a whole bunch of things of how Android runs. If you notice, Android or Google does not release any smartphone with an SD card. That's because they want to rely on the faster internal storage. I understand that. I get that. But to present it in this way, to take away a feature that Samsung was touting for the longest time as a feature that they offered, um, and then piecemealing the upgrade cycle. So the base model, the 128 without expandable storage, is 1200.
Mhm.
That's a big up from last year where you had expandable storage at that price. When you had that with the Note, the options that we're getting right now are very. I can't even, like I said, it's a weird. I understand what they're trying to do. I understand that they're trying to gear or shift the conversation. They're trying to move us away. They're trying to
Well,
basically say,
but
hey, you want a charger, you pay for it.
let's
You
look
want
at
them.
some comparable pricing tiers, like OnePlus 8T. That doesn't have expandable storage. What
True,
did they
but
start you at?
well, it starts you at $799. They're not even close to that price point. That's the other part. And not only that, by the end of the
But I
year,
mean,
the
like, how
OnePlus
much
18
storage
was
do they start you off
oh,
on the 8T?
256. I think it's
256.
250. It's 256 across the board. I don't think they have any other storage
LG
wise. They
Win
don't.
is a
Oh,
$1,000 phone. That
yep.
starts you off at 256.
I think Sony was also at 256, if I'm not mistaken. On
Xperia
the
1 is, I believe Xperia 5 is 128, but you've got
yes,
memory card support
no. Well,
and a
that was I
headphone
was going to
jack.
say, and dual SIM support, and so there's that the whole conversation kind of comes back full circle. When you have so many other options on the market that do provide you options, the SD card, like I said, at some point or another, I felt like that was going to happen. But my problem with it, one of my problems, this is a true story from the Note series. I had purchased two Note devices, a Note 20 and a Note 20 Ultra. The Note 20 Ultra was ultimately going to be mine, and I was going to give the Note 20 to my wife. Um, the day came when I was done with the Note 20. I was ready basically just upgrade her from the Note 10. She had a Note 10, which surprisingly had a 256 base storage. I don't know how. Samsung had did it back then. Um, I couldn't upgrade her in and carry all because my wife likes to have her own media, all of that stuff. That all of that had to transfer. I couldn't transfer all her data and fit it into the 128. She had gone beyond the 128 gigs of storage. That was a big problem for me because for me to upgrade her to get her to enjoy her new device the biggest thing that she cared about was obviously she likes Samsung, she loves the camera tech, but it was really just carrying those images and those memories that she likes to be able to pull whenever she wants.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up having to get rid of the 20 and then get basically we upgraded her to the Note 20 Ultra. But to me, that shouldn't be the story. That should not be the path. And I fell for it. I fell for it inadvertently because I didn't double check my wife's internal storage usage before making my decision on picking it up. Because I pretty much knew that the Note 20 for me was not I wasn't going to keep that. The Note 20
Right.
Ultra was always going to be there. But to kind of like circle it back a little bit. There was a lot of things announced this morning. I felt like there was a lot of things missing from these announcements, and we're not going to see them. They didn't touch on any of those conversations. And I really wanted to actually ask, when they talked about the processor and the performance of the processor in their conversation or their statements, they weren't talking about the Qualcomm. I don't think they were. I think they were talking about the Exynos.
But does it matter?
Not really, but it was like, yeah, it really doesn't. That's true.
Like,
Yeah.
talking about a press conference that had that reek, that stench of average people use these phones. And even Samsung is doing a terrible job of actually celebrating the fact that consumers are more likely to pick up in the grand bell curve of
Mhm.
consumers. They're more likely to pick up an A50 or an A70 series.
More than
I,
likely, which is where
I,
where they make their money. Yeah.
they're going to sell millions of these Galaxy S's, but the sales numbers are going to be a disappointment compared to sort of the heyday of the Galaxy S as a $650 phone. That ship has sailed, and in a world of 5G, there are better compromises to make if you're looking at something that's kind of mainstream, mid-ranger, average consumer focused. The
Do you
Galaxy S21 is not it.
so do you think that the S21, the base model S21 is really is it the same thing that they did with the Note 20? It's a straight upsell because it's a very
I mean, how could it not be? Again, the S21 is the love child of the Note 20 and the Galaxy S20 FE. It's
yeah.
everything we can do to make it look the same, but we're gonna make it out of less expensive materials. If you make a phone out of plastic, I want it to look like a premium, nice polycarb. I don't want it
Mhm.
to look like a cheap, shiny glass because
With the paint
you
job.
know, well, but even without a paint job, it's got that kind of sheer, shiny look to it. Yeah, the second you take it out of a case, if that plastic starts to get worn, it's going to look
And
like
it will,
garbage.
and it will, and it will.
And
This is the weird part about it. What most people say, what you hear about them is they say that basically, oh, it looks nice, it's kind of interesting, it's plastic and whatever. Plastic will you are going to basically scratch that. There's no question that you're more likely to you scuff it, you do something on it, and there's no way to buff it out. There's no way to get rid of it. There's no way to
But
there's no protectors
if
for
you
it other
made
than
the
a case.
phone out of a premium polycarb and it's not paint, then when you scratch that polycarb, it is the same color underneath.
Beneath
And I've got a
which
whole shelf of Lumias
I
that
was
look flipping awesome that I've never put
but
cases on them
because you've
because they were made out of a better material. I don't care if it's glass. I actually don't think glass is nice. I'm fine walking away from glass, but I don't want plastic that looks like cheap glass.
yeah
I'm
no
done with that being the material science. I actually had to tag OnePlus because
hmm
they're trying to make their glass look like aluminum
hmm
and their plastic phones are trying to look like glass. And like the material science is just all wrong. Just it's all
well
over the place, just wrong. And now Samsung is doing the same thing. So people slept on the OnePlus 8 Pro last year, but you had a true quad HD screen that
mhm,
could sustain 120 hertz.
at
Now
the
on
same time.
Samsung land, you got to go to the Ultra.
Yep.
At
Well,
999.
and it's variable. It's variable. They went with the Note side, and this so
Actually,
this
to
is
be
the
fair, I bet you the OnePlus 8 Pro kind of plays fast and loose with
it it
refresh
it
rate
it, it
when it
does.
doesn't need to. Also, I mean,
But I don't think it's variable in the way that they were converting it. So there's the step conversion where it jumps from one
no,
refresh to the
I know what
other.
you mean, but I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
saying
yeah.
like it's been frustrating because like a OnePlus 8 Pro at 999 was a 256 gig phone with a camera sensor that was almost as large as the main camera on the S20 Ultra
Mhm,
and is still, I mean, like one of the only phones that could shoot 4K 60 frames per second and switch between
mhm.
the main sensor and the
And
ultra
ultra
wide.
wide,
And the ultra wide was a larger
ultra
sensor
sensor.
than most premium phones had last year. The
So
ultra
what?
wide on the OnePlus 8 Pro is a larger sensor and is a better HDR performer than what Apple is putting into the iPhone 12 Pro. So, sleep on that phone. Oh no, OnePlus has lost the plot. They came out with $1,000 phone. And now look at the garbage that Samsung is trying to sell this year in whittling back, in scaling back, making you buy extra accessories, copying every move from Apple, getting rid of memory card storage, starting you at 128 gigabytes of storage, using the same hardware, the same camera sensors,
Mhm.
reducing the screen resolution. But the S21 is launching at a lower price than the S20 did. Samsung just knows how to treat us so right.
Absolutely. And I think if we say anything else, it's wrong. You really need to just appreciate what happened today. It was a big event. And I don't want to, to kind of spend the entire show about it. I realize that there's still a lot of conversation to be had. Um, I,
So
I
okay, let's wrap it up.
sure.
Are you getting one?
Y- I'm not going to deny that. Yes. I mean, I am going to get that on T-Mobile. Yes.
All
I
right.
decided to take it out.
I am seriously considering not. I
Okay.
mean, like what I might do is quietly borrow one from a friend after the main coverage is out. And then if you're on my Patreon, I'll throw out like a camera review because it's going to be exactly the same as the cameras
I
we had last year.
just use the same footage and transfer it over. No, I'm I I think what we could do, I think it's a good collaboration for us to actually take a look at what they're offering. If you want to be able to, we can do the similar conversation that we did
Sure,
last time.
sure. We can try and tag team it.
Yeah,
Let
yeah, yeah. That's the short answer version of that. But it's not that I the end of the day, the conversation is it's there's the what you see on paper, what you see, what other people are referencing right now, which essentially is the high reel of basically the highlight point almost, because we want to start seeing some of the real conversations on it. And I feel like if it's something that you and I are able to give our opinion on, I think it would basically have just more weight than just as opposed to somebody that sees the stream and says, well, they don't even hold the phone, they don't even know what's going on. The reality is, we'll put basically our word to the test. Let's work it out. Hopefully, when shipments start coming out, because I know I'm not going to get the device. There's no question. I'm not even on any radar. I got lucky one time. I won a competition, and I was
with
able
the
to go to
S10.
a launch event, the S10. And it was a really nice little short burst of
So,
whatever.
So here's the thing. I mean,
Sure.
on Twitch, the Suku one is saying I should get one as a reference device. I do not believe that anything Samsung has put out should be held up to any kind of standard where it's the comparable reference point. I
I like
I,
this
I
one. Some
don't.
moderator guy.
Oh yeah, we had a troublemaker on Twitch, and he just got the
I,
ban hammer. Um, and I'm assuming it was a he. Uh, um, so I am going to be very interested in how 2021 plays out, and in 2020, I really felt it was toxic to talk about phones just based loosely on price. So I didn't feel there was a phone of the year. I didn't feel there was one
that's true. Yep.
standout hit that defined what the smartphone experience should be. Even Apple put out four phones, 4 or 5 different tiers of devices. There was no one it factor. So I don't feel but that by joining the conversation, even to tell people not to buy the S21, that it does the Android community any service to act like the S21 is the standard by which other phones should be judged.
I no.
I just I feel like it's time for us to grow up. It's time for us to move on and acknowledge that like we're doing a terrible job of actually handling the needs and budgets of our
Mm,
family and friends. They're not listening to us as techies anymore. This is an insular gatekeeper bubble of gadget nerddom. And
mhm.
instead, if we're going to go and look at a crazy expensive phone, let's actually judge it by some of these outlandish claims that the manufacturer makes. If we're going to hold up a Samsung,
Mhm.
I'm going to treat it with the same kind of scrutiny that I hold up, the aspirational marketing claims of an iPhone,
Yeah.
because they're so over the top and those phones never live up to what the
No.
manufacturers claim that they're
Some
supposed
of
to
the
do.
images I saw in their announcement were also they looked pretty like that one night shot where they were talking about the HDR processing where it brings up all the
The
light. The
woman
image
was out of focus.
I that's what I was saying. I was like, did you see? Did you who vetted that statement?
The
Who vetted
camera
that?
focused on the landscape,
It's
and I'm
like, what
already
the
twitchy about Samsung Focus.
uh,
And if you really do care about capturing your memories in a more photographic quality, and you've not handled a
yep.
Sony, then you are missing out on the premier, the gold tier, lock the focus on your subject solution. And Samsung
Half
ain't
press to
it.
focus on a smartphone is crazy, crazy nice. But yes,
Samsung ain't it.
I know, but I'm saying it when I saw that, it's like I cringed a little bit when I saw like that's the picture you're telling people this is your
I
performance, this is what it does,
but I
and
mean, like, Samsung spends so much on marketing, and they put together so many press conferences. And I know you don't want to pull a Huawei where maybe you use a photo from a mirrorless camera and you try and pass it off as a photo from one of your what was that? Was it the Mate 10 that they did that with one of
I
the
want to
portrait
say
mode?
I want to say either the Mate no Mate 20 was it the Mate 20 no yeah maybe the Mate 20 I want to say the
Maybe
Mate
the Mate
it
20,
was a Mate yeah
but
it was either
it
the
was,
10 or
a
the
couple
20
years back, and it
yeah
wasn't a
yeah
recent one. But again, it's like I understand Samsung doesn't want to do that. How about you just choose a photo where the subject's in focus?
I would have picked that I would that but then I don't know I
I
guess I
wouldn't
don't know what I'm doing.
presume to tell Samsung PR executives how to do their jobs. They are definitely way better at this than I could be. My
I'm
my
glad
guess
you
would
saw the
be
same picture I saw, and I was like,
oh
"Oh my
god,
god." Okay, yes. So, like,
it's
yes,
so hilarious.
let's put the the proverbial S Pen back into the silo that is now a case that you need to. I don't know how to end this one. I'm trying to be poetic.
Now
Um,
let's move on. Case in point,
CES was the other big thing going on already. This it's
you're
not a
right.
week of yeah. The best of our
Putting a
week
pin
is
in
not just
Samsung.
today at 7 a.m.
Don't buy the S21, and TK and I will try and do some fun videos on a Samsung,
Just for
and you
reference,
can
I do
and
jump
you
on
can watch
demand.
those videos out of a morbid curiosity without ever having to spend your own money. But if you're going to buy a Samsung in early 2021, I think the smart money's on
The
Galaxy
S20.
S20.
Yep. If you need a Samsung, if you need to stick with the Samsung ecosystem, then I would say the S20 line is very, very reasonably priced, and not only that, still, I think, well, it has more features. It has more features.
I found, I mean, again, I was just kind of poking through Swappa. I found in very good condition an S20 5G, and for
It was
450.
the P9, by the way. So
Oh,
Jose
it's the
Montero
P9.
has
That's
jumped
right,
in.
because of the
He is
Leica and the
the
depth of
Leica
field.
brand. Yeah. Thank you, Jose.
Um,
Appreciate that. Sorry.
but if you need DeX, S20, and
Mhm.
I'm telling you, that will be a brilliant experience. Even if you're coming from like an S9, the
Oh yeah.
S20 is still going to feel like an upgrade.
Mhm.
I feel the camera sensors are better,
Oh yeah.
or at least the autofocus is more reliable.
Or even
S20.
possibly LG.
No. I specifically said it this way because I'm definitely like LG shill guy. But out of all the
Absolutely.
phones, out of all the phones that I used last year, if your criteria is some kind of laptop style computing,
Yeah.
Dex is
Mhm.
great. And
Texas.
honestly, I mean, I love the LG desktop mode is a little bit more polished up than Android's stock version. Dex is the gig.
Yep.
But if you can get away with a lesser desktop mode, yeah, obviously. I mean, people have been sending me eBay deals on V60s for like $350. So I mean, like, that's a
Whoa,
lot of phone
okay. That
for
is a lot of
$400.
phone for 400 bucks. Oh my God. Okay. Yes. Yeah. No, there's no question. We're not trying to say one over the other. I get it. You're right. It's more of the um where the ecosystem that you'd like to be in. And reality is actually in 2021, I feel like even Dex surpasses what EMUI desktop is offering us, which I feel like that at one point the EMUI was kind of head to head, but now they're moving up. Um, yeah, the OnePlus 9 is coming up soon. So those are obviously some things coming up down the line. The OnePlus 9, other devices, but what was that other big event that happened this week? What was that
I don't
big?
remember. I don't think there was anything else that happened. I
Nothing
think
happened before the 7 a.m. this
only
morning.
Samsung existed. Nah, we already teased CES. It's
I
okay.
know, I know. I kid. I had to make a little transition, you know.
Did you have a good CES? Did you have a good show?
Um, I had a less stressful CES. I can say that much.
Fair
And by
enough.
stressful, I mean I wasn't running around everywhere. Uh, it was very different for me this year. I had to juggle day job and CES at the same time because I didn't take time off, which typically I do to focus on
Yeah,
CES. So
I was in the same boat.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard being the remote CES is obviously a needed thing. There's no question. This year it had to be CES. Why remote? I applaud Showstoppers, all the other companies that did the virtual events, and they still try to give everybody access to all the information, but it was a hard big thing for me. Like I saw a few really amazing announcements this week. TCL blew my mind. Oh my God, TCL. Um, and then LG comes around, and then Sony comes around, and then you're getting the big hits. So there was a lot of nice things. Let's just say that Razer with their face mask. I'm like, sell me Hazel now. I want Hazel now. Uh, there was quite a few. I think it was nice. I honestly I appreciated all the announcements, and I am definitely looking forward to actually, believe it or not, I may consider this year switching over to AMD when it comes down to their GPUs, not just the CPU. I've been on their, team AMD for a few years now with Ryzen's chipsets, but I think I
Mhm.
may have to switch over my GPU as well because I'm really excited about what they're bringing in, and it seems like there's just they can only go further and better and faster and cheaper.
You know, it was really interesting, especially for the AMD keynote.
Hmm.
Dr. Lisa Su, you gotta love, like, because she's such a badass. Like, she takes a stage and she's just like, "Well, here are a bunch of benchmarks. Our product rocks," and you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Wow, yeah,
yeah.
I agree."
Rockstar
Um,
attitude without shame. She owns it.
so
Absolutely. Love
also,
it.
like, my hook, my trigger, my salivatory glands are always going to be linked to better competition. So in the
Yeah.
GPU space, seeing AMD hitting this competitive again, that's very exciting. But the thing that I'm going to be most anxious to see is actually the laptop game. Is seeing the
Oh,
5000 series Ryzen's
yep.
in laptops and notebooks. And I got real excited because Panos Panay comes out during the AMD keynote, and I'm like, oh, are we going to get an AMD Surface? Are you going to finally give it? Oh no, you're talking about Xbox. Okay.
Xbox.
Yeah, I get it.
She hinted at it. I mean, she covered it quite a bit when they started talking about the the
But
GPU power and what's powering your next gen systems.
but did you catch how she made a very specific point of saying that the AMD Ryzen 5000 chips were going to be the fastest x86
She did.
laptop,
She said X80, and I was like
and
very surprised.
accentuated it. It was like
Yeah,
articulated. It was like,
X86,
ooh,
X86, and I'm like, whoa. I
we're
would.
quietly having to acknowledge that Juan was right about ARM processors all along.
I was like, what? Like seriously? No, 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 absolutely. I think ARM has a massive future in front of it, and I think we're all going to be benefiting from that at some point when we start having more competition in that realm. But no, absolutely. I think, like I said, the biggest thing I miss about this year is the fact that I could not touch any of these things.
Yeah.
I was not able to test them out last year. I had a ton of fun in the AMD booth at the Venetian. Um, not the booth, their own. They actually rent out a whole area in the hotel. There's like a massive
Mhm.
conference room. So those rooms, oh my god! Like and realistically, if you not that you can, but even if you could find an sorry, an NVIDIA GPU, it's AMD's presence, AMD's prowess is the reason why the 30 series supposedly MSRP style starts lower for more. They're having to step up their game. They're no longer just sitting in at that top tier saying, "Look, we just have everything." Um, and that's one of the reasons, like I said, that's one of the reasons I'm truly thinking about switching over GPU wise, to get the benefits of what we get directly from AMD. And I feel like that was one of my biggest thing that I was very excited about. Project Hazel was a nice little thing. I mean, Razer put out some new,
Yeah.
updated laptops and so on, which we expect. But Project Hazel was actually nice. LG had, by the way, I forgot the name of it. The LG Life mask, face mask. Like
Mhm.
we're starting to see, big tech companies that last year were producing PPEs for for service people and so on and everything to actually start trying to figure out how to make an upgraded tech related product like this. So those two are really excited. Unfortunately, Hazel it's a CES event, right? So Hazel right now is a concept. Um, can
Well,
can
but there was another company. I'm trying to pull it up right now. Sorry, that's why I'm kind of looking off to my other monitor
no, no, no,
to
no. That's it. Yeah, yeah,
pull
yeah.
it
No,
up.
definitely.
I got review requests from a couple other manufacturers that are also making like UV enabled vented plastic face
Oh,
guards.
okay, okay.
So I mean, like, yeah, well, Razer's putting that in. They have the RGBs. Um, you
So
know,
just for reference, or before everybody ends up, it works. It will not work with this face mask.
no,
No,
no.
every time I don't like wearing face mask, but obviously I do. But this thing gets so messed up, it's not even funny. So imagine this with a see-through glass. I don't want you to see that. I want I if I had to put it a request, I would ask for a matte black or maybe that new Phantom Black that Samsung
Yeah.
just invented.
I mean, now,
Uh,
now that you can get black. Real quick, speaking of Samsung, I did find the photo of the woman in the low light test. If you want me to screen share it real
sure,
quick.
sure, yeah, yeah. Let's see that beautiful picture
So if
of
you
the
want to throw
background.
that in
Sorry,
there.
yeah. Let's see.
Um,
So this was the image
this is
that.
one of the worst night mode photos I've seen from any phone. And it happens to be the photo that they used in a keynote conference to show off the new phone.
They obviously
That is
showed this up.
awful.
It's not an image you would share and be proud of. It's not
No,
one of
it's
those.
not.
It's not.
Look at how like the floor, like highlights and texture in the floor are blown out. She's out of focus. Her face is still
Mhm.
underexposed. This was what they showed off for that 108 megapixel ultra camera sensor. This is hot garbage.
I was very, yeah.
And again, if you've done any like silly absolute like no business pointing your camera at a subject low light photography on a OnePlus 8 Pro, that I have to believe OnePlus would have wrecked this Samsung example here. This is so bad, and I
Mhm.
can't believe this is what they chose to highlight in a mixed dynamic range environment where you can do like almost no light style night photos.
Yep.
Out of even out of an LG.
I think an LG, a Pixel. I think most other devices would have done a much better. Just that processing. Just to me, when I saw that, I was like, "That's not a good example. I don't know why you're showing this and you're standing there saying this was a good image." But I
Anyway,
do want. Yeah.
we can
So
get back
that,
to CES.
we
I just felt
I
like
was
I
going to
needed
say.
to backtrack there.
Thank you for bringing her back.
Yeah, the Razer thing was kind of fun. I also liked their gamer chair with the scroll out display.
That display, dude,
That looks
that
pretty
is
cool.
like futuristic. Again, those are the
It
things.
looked a
Those
little
are the things.
it looked a little like Wall-E, like
Uh,
floating chairs in Wall-E,
the-
but it seems to be pretty cool. What
I
were
can no. Go ahead. I was
Oh, I
going
was
to
just
say
gonna say,
I
because
was
you were
transitioning
bringing up TCL, I kind of feel like one of the things that made me really happy to see.
TCL and LG, both
Well,
TCL.
again, I'm the LG shill guy, but
Okay. Yes,
one of the
that's true.
things, and I had to immediately fire off a bunch of emails to TCL product reps and PR. It was their concept for a wearable cinema display.
Hmm.
Because like we haven't seen something like that really taken seriously since Sony did it. I want to say 6 years ago. The Sony 3D cinema display. It was that
Hmm.
giant. It looked like a VR visor, but it wasn't. It was to make you feel like you
I
were
tried those
sitting.
glasses, by the way, last year when I was at CES. Again, when
Sony?
we no TCLs.
Oh, the TCLs.
Yeah, they had
But
that.
but
They had the concept in the room, but they didn't really talk about it.
but going from concept to actually saying like this is a product that's going to ship this year,
It's a
I
product now.
am so silly excited that someone is trying this again. I'm hoping we can get like phone powered VR and AR kind of back into the swing. I even pulled down. I've got like a Daydream up on my bookshelf.
What's
And
a daydream? Did is that what is daydream, man? What?
the thing, the tech that we will no longer ever speak of because Google
Yes,
closed so
obviously.
many projects. It never
It
existed.
it never
Um,
existed. I have two headsets here, the cardboard and daydream sitting here doing
so, but here's what got me thinking though. TCL isn't making even. They've got one phone with the 700 series processor.
Mhm.
They're firmly in that 670, 690 territory. And if they're coming out with a powered cinema display to watch content, maybe even to play games on, especially when you're traveling, that is a really big deal. I want to see more of that, bringing that kind of mid-range powered experience to content consumption is kind of huge. And from a company that like legitimately built their rep on like TVs, right? TVs and
Yep.
streaming services and building Rokus into TVs and doing all that. Like
Roku
I
is crazy popular right now. I've
I
seen some
want
metrics of how many there were. Yeah.
that so bad. So,
You're
so,
gonna
so
you're gonna love it. It's really nice.
far and away for the mobile space, that was the one announcement I think made me the most excited, was to see a company coming back to try and do a sort of cinema style experience. And it feels refreshingly free of gimmicks.
Mhm.
It's not phone powered VR for limited apps or games that don't really kind of work. I just want to see, like, I really want to see what a tailored, streamlined, focused media consumption experience can be like on their phones.
I'm trying to find that picture for you just to prove that I actually did use one of them. Um,
I believe you, TK.
it was one of those very very surprising and very very satisfying experience because it was sitting in the room and it was sitting all the way in the back that nobody was even talking about because they had the foldable last year. Remember we had that clamshell that we saw, TCL bringing that
Well,
up.
and they showed the scrolls this year.
So okay, so I realized you were excited about the glasses, but I wanted to scroll. I want to scroll so bad. I want to be able to come up to you one day and say, Juan, hold on a second. Let me check what's going on.
Hmm?
Hmm. Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, not happening today. I am so sorry. Maybe next time. Or I love that one scene they did it where the guy was in the jungle. He comes up, he opens it up all the way, and it's flat. I'm like printed. Oh, I'm like, oh yes, that needs to happen. Um, there was that other one they also put out, which was their version of the Z Flip. If there was a version they could do where it was literally it goes from, this is me
A
badly
square.
acting.
Yeah.
It goes from a square. Let's say this is the phone square, right? And then it goes from square to what? The phone is there, and that was actually cool. So yeah,
I'm telling you, I know people that I like are really into foldables. I know you've got.
we're gonna see 3 foldables this year. There's gonna be.
No, this is just it though.
Sorry, I meant
What?
rollable. I said not foldable. I said the wrong word. There's going to
No,
be 3.
that's the point. Bleh. I am getting. I've kind of figured out why I'm not quite as impressed with a foldable, as like. Sorry, tried to say like 3 different sentences all at the same time. I kind of snapped on why I'm not as impressed by foldables, and the idea of taking twice as much phone to collapse and fit into a pocket doesn't seem as techy or as futuristic. And,
Okay.
and especially after talking with some of the TCL reps, just the fact that we can bend the OLED, that's not the hard part. The hard part is putting that into some kind of frame or some kind of structure that is lifestyle durable. And the easiest way to do that is to give you the full thickness of 2 phones when it's collapsed and when it's folded shut. And because you can't close them perfectly flat, it's a little bit more than twice the thickness because you always have to have some kind of gap or some kind of taper. And
Mhm.
so scrollables solve this in a fundamentally different way where the form factor that actually lives in your pocket isn't going to be twice as much phone.
No.
It's going to
Yep.
be a little bit thicker than a normal phone, but that makeup compact form factor looks so much cooler to me than like a Motorola Razr or a Z Flip. Like cute
Once
little
I
tuck
saw
of the
the
phone for kind of like a pocket smartwatch. And then when I want the full phone experience, I push a button and I have my full phone screen. Like that is everything that I wanted out of like a Z Flip, minus all the things I don't want
out of the Z
about a
Flip.
Z Flip.
And the exciting part is that we have TCL, LG, and Oppo all doing rollables, all roughly doing similar
Yeah.
tech. The presence that so the TCL, the LG, and the Oppo, I think it was the Oppo Find X. I forgot what it was. They showed it at the last year at the end of their innovation day, and it was really like a very interesting. They all seem to provide us a similar experience, and only Oppo, I think, showed us a little bit of their mechanism where they were showing the
Mhm.
fold, the rolling. I think was it like a fabric, like a metal fabric frame that rolls out with the frame. The answer is yes. I'm excited with what new tech we're going to see this year. I think I can predict already that the Z Fold 3 is pretty much outshined, and it's not even out yet. This is the weird part about it. I don't think people are going to look at folding. They're going to look at rolling because I think that's the true form factor. Because once you've used it, when you said 2 phones topped on each other, that's not including the case, my friend. Try to
Right.
put 2 phones with cases on top of each other. It's a chunker. Don't get me wrong. I use it. This is a phone that obviously I paid my own money for. Uh, but that's one thing you don't, I'm not going to carry a phone in any shape, way, or form without a
But to
case.
that same token, I mean, I think it joins a conversation. Like I really liked the video that Tech Alter put out on the Z
Mhm.
Fold 2, because he
Yeah,
had a lot of praise for the actual mechanics, like the actual construction and the engineering. I don't think anyone
absolutely.
faults that. I
No, there's
agree
no
with
problem.
him, especially after using my Duo, that
Mhm.
I think they picked the wrong orientation for where it should fold. And I think it
Okay.
should fold on the opposite axis from the axis that it does fold on, because I feel like you're and I mean, again, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm not saying I feel you. I don't mean you specifically, TK, or someone who has a Z Fold, but I feel the Z Fold is always in between a screen that's probably just a little too skinny and a
Mhm.
screen that's just a little too square. And if it had folded on the other dimension, which would actually be a lot closer to the folding style of my Duo,
Mhm.
then you probably wouldn't have those same kind of form factor issues. I think your main outer display would be more functional and your main inner display would still be the same. It would still be kind of a squarish screen, but you'd be holding it sideways as its normal
So
orientation.
I do tend to hold it. So just for point of reference, typically when I'm holding my phone, so for Juan's point, so here's the Z Fold 2. When I typically have it, and I'm using it on the outer display, you're right. It is too skinny of a display. It doesn't format quite well everywhere. When I open it up, and let's say I'm sharing something with my wife or with my son, I typically will open up the phone and turn it.
Yeah.
I always have to do that because that's the orientation where it gives me the full image as in desktop or landscape mode, which is what I wanted to see,
it's
which is
more
what's
like
already
the
on. Exactly.
Duo in its natural sort of
And
landscape
and
orientation.
and this one is it's not exactly 60. It's not the right format. It's just a little bit too wide. So you get pillar boxed in there. You turn it sideways, then suddenly it works like a tablet at a landscape, which
Yeah.
is what you want. So I am with you. I do
So, but
appreciate what the Fold offers.
for sure.
I think
But
it
when we look at a Z Fold 3 versus a scrollable, we're not going to have that issue. The scrollable is going to
no.
be a normal 20:9 aspect ratio outer screen that
Mhm.
then turns into again, it's the same thing. I liked the concept of the Huawei better.
Mhm.
Was the Mate X. Was that their foldable? The Mate X? Am I
Oh, yeah. I think it is the Mate X, yes.
but
And then
the idea of it folding out
on
as
the
opposed to
outside.
folding closed is because you don't need to have a whole extra screen. You don't need to
Between that one and the first Fold, I've said it very, very, very loudly and publicly. I like their design better.
yeah.
I got a chance to play with one when I was in Shenzhen one time, and it truly was more enjoyable because when it was folded, it was still a phone.
Yeah.
It was literally, I think, was it a P30 Pro, roughly the size of a P30 Pro being folded, and then you open it up to when you wanted to experience it, and you close it. My only concern was the durability because of the fact that you had
The
with the
screen is
foldable,
all on the outside.
it's
Yeah.
all on the outside, and they gave you a very interesting wallet style pocket to put the phone in that comes with it. So I was like, I will
That's
never rock that. That is just
interesting.
not. You'll never see me walk down the street with a phone
But
sticking out halfway out of my pocket.
But a scrollable brings me back to everything about the Mate X that I like. It is
Mhm.
more efficient. You
Yep.
don't need to buy extra screen just so that you can have an open or a closed experience. You
Mhm.
don't need to have extra cameras over a regular phone because of the orientation of those displays scrolling in and out.
Yeah.
It solves all of those problems in a device that seems more lifestyle practical.
I agree.
I'm almost confident that our scrollables and foldables will probably take another jump in price this year. I'll be shocked if like the LG Explorer doesn't land at like I don't know what 2500 something like that.
I
I
feel
think
like
it's
for
going to
what they're
be
offering, it's
trendy.
gonna be up there. Yeah, there's no question. The X, the LG, the TC, even the TCL with their design, especially that the scroll, that's the scroll, the one that opens up in the scroll. That's probably gonna be like a, I don't know. I think it's a fun piece of tech to check out, to look at. Realistically, at the end of the day, I'm excited for that type of technology to evolve. But I feel like what you're saying is true. I think the movement from folding screen, the folding display, it proved itself to be not as functional as what we're seeing with this. And if we're able to see the benefit of scrolling displays over folding displays, and they're not even out in the public yet, that tells you that we've been wanting more out of folding, but we haven't been getting it. 2 generations into the Fold, it is better. The external display is functional. They finally fixed the hinge mechanism. They did a lot of things to it. Um, and I still feel like they could have done better. And like I said, the Z Fold 3 is already outshined and it's not even in the hands of anybody yet. It may just be, I don't know, go back to the drawing board, Samsung, and come back in 2022 with a better, or maybe we'll see something later. But at the end of the day, I'm excited for what TCL did an amazing show between their TVs, the TCL 20. I mean, we can't forget the new 20 series TCL. They announced the new 20 Pro, I think, and then the new 20.
I don't think they had the 20 Pro.
Was
The
it
20
Pro?
Pro was sort of shown,
Yeah.
but it didn't get the official announcement. I got the press release on the 25G and the 20 SE.
Oh, that's what it was. It was the SE and the 5G. Sorry, I'm peace. Don't Not the
So,
Pro. The
but
Pro,
here,
I think
yeah,
was
I actually wanted to ask you about this too. I mean, again, I mean, just kind of, wrapping up a segment on TCL. Um, the TCL 25G is looking to be a less powerful device than the 10 5G.
yes, because it's not using it. I think it's the 6
It's
series,
going
right?
down to the 690.
Yep.
So what I think is interesting is watching TCL. I think they're taking a very hard targeted approach at the Nord for all of the hate and all of the
It's, uh,
chagrin that OnePlus has been getting for diversifying their product lineup. So many companies seem to be anxious about that Nord to Nord N10 territory. Um,
that 299 magic price point of a 5G phone from a big.
rocked my opinion of that phone hard.
That's why when I looked at that phone, I said you have to look at it in the market that it's in. I'm not saying this is the same. I would give my same opinion about the N10 the same way if this was in Europe. In the US for 299, and it's a OnePlus experience at a 299 price point with 5G, it's changing the conversation. It's changing it because that's giving people to say, look, we can do better with the 6 series. We can give you 5G. And I agree. TCL, I think, is definitely the company to do it. They have obviously they own the hardware. I mean, 90% of what they're doing here, obviously, the display technology, all of that stuff, NX Vision, all of that, all of those new features that we saw in 2020. I think I'm excited to see what we see in next year. We didn't hear any other smartphone from other companies. I think like LG didn't talk smartphones. I think and
They showed off
um,
their scrollable. I mean, it was just the tease
well,
at the end of the press
so
conference, and it didn't
was
have
at the
any.
end. No, they didn't talk about it. Remember, they didn't talk about it. He just said goodbye and have a good see. And if you were patient enough to wait to the end and you saw it, like what the heck is it doing? It is getting smaller.
Oh,
Is it the
so
phone? Yeah. It was nice. I saw that. I was like, no. I
I,
see what you're doing. I
I
got
mean,
you.
it's like I know I've got family members. Is LG showing off the new Samsung? Like,
Is
I felt like if you weren't really,
it, yeah. No, I know.
but
Trust me.
here's what I actually did want to say. I mean, from Samsung's press conference, CES has kind of become the TV show. This is where all
It's
the
for
the
me, that's yeah, like 90% of what we see there is TV. I
I
miss the LG booth, let's just say that.
I love like in their
The
little
way it
lifestyle sections, and they have
oh,
that
man.
living room in the middle.
Mhm.
I miss their kitchen demos. Did you ever get to see them like
I
fire up
never I
that weird beer brewing machine?
no, I never
I've
no.
never
Last
been
year, I
able to hang out in their booth long enough to get a beer, and I'm sure it's terrible. It looks like a Keurig for beers, but I wanna try one so bad. But the
there
thing that I thought was kinda interesting, and I wanted to get your take on this,
yeah,
this was also a pretty strong show for robots.
yes.
Samsung with their take on a robot vacuum actually I thought was pretty compelling.
The
And did
vacuum
you see
itself and the guy, like,
the arm was
and
nuts.
he's like,
But
"Mm."
did you see the LG disinfecting robot?
So, okay,
That
I
one
saw
freaked me out.
I could totally see that were being implemented in hotels and different spots like that. Having it the way it's basically like a
Throwing it
giant
in a
UV
home.
light. Yeah, no, a giant UV light on wheels. Um, oversimplified, absolutely oversimplified the text. But when I saw that, I was like, ingenious. Like, wow. Like seriously. So robots, I feel like are especially with the situation with cleaning and consistent having needing the manpower to keep things clean and sanitized as we
Mhm.
are getting in the recovery staging of things or how things are going with the current situation in there. I was very excited. That was actually one of the very nicest robots that I saw there as far as performance. Samsung's hand robot, the ability of doing my
I thought that
dishes
was
concept
cool.
kind of thing. I was like, I
But
don't
this
know.
is but they're just regular, it was kinda like a tank tread Roomba.
Yeah.
Um, I actually liked that as like a practical consumer-facing product better. I don't know what it is. I have no great, fondness or love for the Samsung label anymore. Since like the Note 4, I'm kind of been off the Samsung night hype train.
Mhm.
Um, when I saw their integration with camera sensors on a little Roomba style vacuum, and that legitimately to me makes a solid argument for a device that does two things. It
Oh,
helps vacuum around in your house, and in a pinch, when you get a notification from your home security setup, you can use that as like a little sentry drone
hmm.
to go and put cameras over where the disturbance was. And how I look at a brand like Samsung, and then I consider a brand like Ring with their little aerial security drone.
Where is that, by the way? I haven't seen the aerial drone that I want. I
Right.
want that to fly around my house.
I
Not.
feel like it's still just a step too far. I think most consumers are more going to be freaked out by that than actually think it's kind of cool. And I think it's going to take just a little bit longer for it to come to market. But I am emblematic of that.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I am more willing to trust a company like Samsung with cameras on an autonomously roving robot in my home than an outlet like Ring.
That cleans, which is the biggest factor. It's not just that it actually does it, but it cleans.
But I know, but I mean, like, it's the same thing, like back in like the Xbox 360 days, we went PlayStation because my wife and I, we weren't big fans of putting always on microphones and cameras in our living room. Like, I don't know what it is. It's marketing, it's branding, it's
It is.
emotional, it's not
Mhm.
rational. But I saw that on a Samsung and I went, oh, two things in one. It vacuums. I can also use it for security. And I
Mhm.
trust that idea better than if that had come from like an Amazon branded company. That
That's true.
feels icky. I won't have that in my home.
It's already in your home. I mean, I don't want to say her name right now, but she's like right behind the monitor. But I know what you mean. Um, so we have one of those vacuums that do the cleaning around the house and
Mhm.
stuff like that every once in a while. And I truly, so for me, my thing about that was whenever we do, like we go trips and so on, whatever. I always like to check on my cats. We have cats, so to me, also even the ability of checking on your pets, security, things like that, those are always great. They did also kind of also talk about the Samsung SmartThings integration with Android Auto, which was also very nice. That I
Mhm.
thought was a good integration that wasn't there. I know that I don't see Samsung SmartThings in my dashboard, so I'm assuming it's coming soon. I felt that was a smart approach to being able to, as opposed to just verbally say them, but being able to initiate scenes, set up different, scenarios and so on. But the fact that the example they used, which I found really funny, was the guy starting his laundry machine before he gets home. And I'm like, dude, you need to get home to put your laundry in it first. Otherwise, what's the point? Why didn't you run it before? Why is it not done already? Anyways, the example was perfect when it came to the turning on the lights and everything, but the laundry. Anyways, so if you ever wanted to set up the laundry to turn on, you can have it set to turn on in the middle of the night. That makes more sense to me as a scenario. But yeah, um, there's a lot of home automation, home tech. Android Auto was mentioned once, and apparently now you can turn on your car with your Samsung device if you wanted to do that. Only Samsung S21 because the S20 doesn't do that. No other Samsung ever or no other phone can do it. Um, but I did want to circle back last thing before we kind
I
of
mean, I
I
do
know.
want to point out that if the car manufacturers actually took any initiative, that wouldn't be the case because my mom doesn't seem to have any problems using her OnePlus 6T as the key for her Tesla. But then you'd need an auto manufacturer that wasn't allergic to technology and incorporating that technology into their fleet.
Other other devices than just the S21. No, I know.
Or
I
the
agree.
iPhone. Apparently,
Oh,
only BMW and iPhones. Your BMW is now the most expensive accessory you compare with your iPhone.
and I think they demoed. Was it an Audi or I forgot which one? What car was it that they showed? But yeah, those were little things. I don't think people were there. There wasn't much, I think, focus on that part. But
But CES being like the show of entertainment and
yeah,
TVs, what were you, how were you feeling about some of the TV announcements? I'm not hyped on resolution, but I'm interested in some of the new like backlighting.
the backlighting, the new tech I was interested on. I don't think 8K is really at where 8K needs to be. I think 8K is still you aspire to 8K. You're not really future proofing by doing it now. Uh,
Mm-mm.
I think at the end of the day, I think TCL the TVs that we saw were, for me at least, like, let's just say this: nothing made me feel like I needed to go buy a TV right now. But
Fair, fair, Very fair.
Those are the things I typically look for, the excitement. It's the when I see the tech and I'm like waiting for.
Don't you
That
feel like the new Chromecast and like the Nvidia Shield has kind of given old TVs a huge shot in the
Ooh,
arm?
oh, like they regenerated, they rejuvenated everything. I mean, we saw Sony integrating Android, the new Google TV in there. I'm like, you've had that in
Yeah.
there. You've had Android TV in there before. This isn't new, but you're incorporating the new one. I love it. We want more smart TVs with this type of smart TV tech, not the proprietary UI that at some point gets forgotten, doesn't get updated. And I say this because Samsung does that to me all the time. I have TVs in
Mhm.
my house that I can't download Discovery Plus on because I want to
Oh,
try Discovery Plus.
oh,
It works on one
as soon
TV,
as
but
you
not
started
another.
hyping up Shield and like I finally walked away from my old Chromecasts and I got the new Chromecast, I am so happy to be done with Samsung's horrific UI.
Their UI, absolutely. Their App Store, their whole configuration, all of that, they
I
could
spent
definitely.
so much on this damn QLED, and now I finally feel like I'm
It's
getting my money's worth, and it's because of a $50 Chromecast.
a Chromecast Ultra with Android with Google TV on it
Oh, man.
it was so right the way Google did it. So absolutely, that's really the big thing. Content consumption, content not creation, but consumption for me is a big factor. And I think there was a lot of new things. We'll have to see, obviously, how they come out. I think TCL had a few offerings that I was very interested in, but that's typical. I feel like TCL always does it for the right price.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
Sony, the Bravia, like wow, but I don't think I could afford that level of TV. But the tech that they have in there was definitely very exciting. So I think at the end of the day, uh, I can say that in 2020, I was more excited about a gaming monitor that I saw. It is going to go back to Samsung, but it is a gaming monitor
Yeah.
at CES. I waited 7 months for that guy.
Mhm.
7 months I waited for that monitor, and I'm in love with that monitor. Once you go ultra wide on a monitor for content creation, gaming, whatever, I spend hours in front of it, and I have not been tired once since July, and we are in January. I'm telling you, this is daily consistent work. So I didn't get that this year yet, but again, if we were there, if we actually saw the tech as opposed to just seeing the PR pieces, I would say maybe that would have been a little bit better. But
Now
what
I
was it
feel
that
you
you
on
were
the
excited
gaming
about?
monitors, but
Mhm.
the one that again, it's like it's such a cliche for me to even bring up this company. Um, I'm very anxious. I'm very curious to see LG's Ultrafine with an OLED. So a
Okay. Okay.
4K
Hey,
OLED Pro from LG Display
they had a few monitors too. They had actually a few gaming monitors as well, not just that. Yeah.
could be my jam.
Huh.
I mean, there's no way this monitor is coming in like under 2 grand. You
Oh
know,
no, no,
like
no, 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 no.
no, not
Uh,
not for one of their ultra fines, but I I got a little like hot and bothered thinking about sitting this close to an OLED, that kind of pixel pitch at that
so
kind
thanks,
of
yes, yes.
resolution. I
That
could
would make your
really
day. That
not
would make your day
try.
much, much nicer at the end. You would like, yes, honey, I got to work late. I don't know
But
when I'll be back.
but along with all of this, again, I mean, there's always going to be kind of like that old school debate between like LCDs and plasmas. Way back in the first flat panel TV days. I'm really curious to see if mini LED and these
Mhm.
discrete sort of backlight and display zones. Are you worried that that is gonna feel like it's gonna be kind of a FOMO feel? Like this is the evolutionary step that then gets us into micro LED, and that because this is a new backlight technology, it's gonna be expensive to pick up now. But I don't know that it's gonna have the shelf life. Do you know what I mean? I'm not explaining myself very well, but I mean I'm sure you can kind of grok what I'm getting at.
I
Does mini LED feel like the thing to jump on now, or should we keep in this holding pattern where
I think
micro LED or OLEDs might make more
I
sense?
I would say wait. I am not that I'm not excited about it. I feel like it looks great, but again, it's just like there was so much of it also announced last. I mean, there was a lot of things that we've seen about what new TVs can do, but I feel like I want to say let's wait. Let's see what they can do next, and maybe if you like it enough that you could jump on it at that point when the price point's a little bit better. It does look great. There's nothing wrong with it. It just for me, I feel like it's a move. It's a move. We know what works. We know how we have it now. We know what the new technology is able to provide us. We also know that the pricing is also starting to drop on some of the other tech. Like I said, not excited. Nothing got me excited this year, but it's like, okay, I'm going to start saving up my money for however long it takes before these things come out. So, um, I will, we'll have to see. When they show up at Best Buy, I'll start going down there and with the very with my
I was
with,
I was just thinking the same thing. Like they'll be at Costco by what, March. I'll have to make a trek to Costco.
yes, but be careful which Costco you go to. Also, lately they've been they're oh
Some of the
my god,
clientele.
yes,
Um,
yes, it gets very. I was going to say colorful, but yeah, no.
yes, colorful is very fair. That is
Yeah,
a very fair and
yeah.
diplomatic way of describing that. No,
Ronaldo wants to bring back CRT. Oh, come on, Rolando.
no, I mean like that huge fad of people that were like gaming on older high
On
end
retro, on
CRTs.
retro.
I get it.
Oh, I
If
want
I
to.
had the space, I'd totally tinker with one, but my desk is now so cramped.
I was gonna say, can you imagine a CRT sitting on your? How much space you have to give it from the back, and you also have to give it space from the back to actually, dissipate the heat and all of that stuff. I don't know. People like my son has no idea what I grew up with as a TV. His understanding of a TV is that it's a larger tablet.
Yeah,
That's that's their understanding of tech, and I'm
it
sure
should
Lex
be
will be
just
the
as
same.
flat.
Yeah, because that's what they know. Um, he actually the last LG TV that I had that was thicker, slightly thicker than what we have right now, died a few years ago. But he never saw it because I ended up giving that to my mom when I upgraded to the Samsung. So um, we'll see. We'll see how things go later on this year. And I actually, I speaking of which, I should have fired up a few emails to TCL and LG. I don't know why. I just this week was a very like I said, juggling day job and CES at the same time and press briefings and
It was proper weird. I think I
yeah,
got the most traction out of Pepcom.
uh,
So
Pe- I I
I was
liked Pepcom. I
doing
liked Showstoppers. Pepcom was actually very nice. I like their setup. I like
yeah,
their approach, and I'm still able to access all the presentations. This is the cool thing. It doesn't end that night, which is typical to when we go to these events. Um, I I just hope, like I said, the only thing is the interpersonal conversation where you're able to stand, talk to the person, understand the product, try it, check it out, see how it is. That was about the only thing I missed. But hopefully 2021 or 2022 will be the year we could check it out again. And,
I'm feeling, I mean, especially after our experiences this year and trying to get a few more people, vaccinated and stuff,
yeah,
I'm feeling pretty confident that
Dodger
there will be,
Stadium, man, it's going to be a mega vaccination system. Sorry.
but that I feel like that it probably won't ever get back. I shouldn't say ever. It probably won't get back for a while to the same
Mhm.
type of population density in Vegas.
Yeah.
But I have to believe that there's going to be a better in-person component to CES 2022, and I'm really
We
looking
saw
forward.
we saw actually, if you think about it, we saw Samsung holding their PR meetings with everybody. If there
Mhm,
was anything to look under that, a lot of the obviously the pre-briefs and so on, all of that, those things were done in person. They were
mhm.
not remote, which
Which
was
also, for Samsung, I would like to say that was grossly irresponsible, and there was
that
no
was, it was a kind
yeah.
of a like every other company has done it responsibly where they've done it. There's no need for them. I mean, if they were going to send the phones to the reviewers, I understand.
Mhm.
There's no need for them to have.
Mm-mm.
OnePlus did it multiple times.
I'm under embargo for a company right now, and I there was no issue with them sending me product and me
See?
jumping on a video call to
Absolutely.
talk about that product. Doing an
Mhm.
in-person pre-brief was grossly irresponsible, and yet another step where I'm kind of happy to not be on that old
Pardon.
Samsung PR train.
It
That's
was
not a
the only
ride
thing.
that I would have done this year.
It was a very interesting conversation. So either way, short answer, yes. Obviously, the many things are hopefully will get better in 2021 as time goes on and with more vaccinations coming up. I think that's definitely the right direction. Um,
So, was there
we'll see.
anything else at the show that you were kind of digging on? I know Aditya is asking about AR. and
Yeah, AR, and I
and
saw that. I didn't. I don't want. I want to say I may have missed it, but I'll have to go back and kind of circle back and see if AR
okay.
glasses and so on. So
So
what
I
did
did
you
a
see?
video for reviews.org. I'm going to
Okay.
be picking up just a little freelance work. I'm adding another byline to my repertoire because I just don't have enough to do.
Mhm.
Um, um, it was kind of a fun trend seeing. I think we got a good representation of all four different flavors of face computers.
Okay.
So TCL had the passive cinema display,
Yep.
which it's not about interacting with things; it's about
Just
making the
seeing.
nicest way to consume content.
Mhm.
Vuzix. Are you familiar with Vuzix? They make like
No.
industrial heads-up displays.
Okay.
They're the ones that like have that weird arm that's almost kind of like Google Glass style that like sticks out
You
from a pair of goggles, and it's to reference like
you mean the
shipping.
Mando? It's like what's it called? Boba Fett targeting.
Kind of, kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah, yeah. That's.
Their newest headset looks like Focals by North.
I miss
So
focals. I
they're
miss.
just
I
they're
never got onto the whole focal thing. Yes.
they're chunky, but they look like regular glasses frames. And there's another company called Norm, which is also trying to do this too. So it's not
Mhm.
AR, but it's heads up. It's a HUD
Is
built
it
into just a slightly chunkier pair of regular glasses.
what was it? What was this for the average? Not the average consumer, but is it to the general consumer
For
use?
Norm, I think that they are looking at the people like this is going to be the thing that replaces your smartwatch. I'm not sure with Vuzix because Vuzix entire backing has been more industrial. So
Yep.
like it's what you would use in a shipping center. It's what you would use, to
There's
catalog
and
with
we've
and
seen those
everything.
before. Those are
Yeah,
in
lots of options for stuff like that.
last year. I think I saw Qualcomm had a demo at the
Oh,
summit.
I mean, even the remnants of Google Glass went
Oh,
that
absolutely.
business direction, not for consumers, but this is the
I
first
miss
product.
glass, by the way.
Oh yeah, Focals.
So
Google bought North, and now
I
they're
was gonna,
they're making
yeah.
it look
Uh,
bad.
as they were getting ready to release the second generation, they started hyping it up, and they got bought out, and it. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. Maybe 2021 is the year we see that something.
But my favorite so I mean sorry, getting back on if you want to take a step up from that, the
Mhm.
AR conversation was actually Lenovo.
Yes, yes.
That headset looking like it could actually give HoloLens a run
Mhm.
for its money and not look like you're a reject from
You're
Tron, like with the full like face wraparound.
Well, no, no. It just the way they set it up. It literally looks like a massive. You had what's it called? Like a jet fighter pilot helmet minus the helmet with the glass and but they left the glass and
Yeah,
took the
but don't
helmet
get me
away.
wrong, I think HoloLens looks I mean, like, I would wear HoloLens out in public if I could. Um, I'm just know people shouldn't follow me
You
on
would
that.
rock it.
That's a bad idea. But, the Lenovo version is looking I mean, it looks like an evolutionary leap on cramming all of those optics, all of those cameras, all of those
Mhm.
sensors
I'm
into
trying to bring
something
it up for somebody that I
that
want to.
doesn't look like a ridiculous helmet apparatus on your head. I've got the video. I mean, I had to pull it for that reviews.org video if you want me to screen
Sure.
share it. But I feel like the first practical application of AR is actually going to be more like what Panasonic was showing off.
Mhm,
Because Panasonic was showing off their work on making smart windshields
mhm.
where it's like Terminator vision. It's like highlighting pedestrians and bicyclists.
I
It's
like that.
tracking other cars in your field of view. And of course, the thing we all want is when you get your turn by turn, it's painting the turn by turn directions
On
on the road
on the
in
road,
front of
kind
you.
of like how Google Maps AR does, which I actually well, actually no. Google Maps AR is actually floating. I don't think it paints on the ground.
I've got the Lenovo here. Let me screen share.
Yeah,
Doo,
let's add that.
doo. So,
Oop,
I mean, if you've ever seen a HoloLens, this is this is huge in that it's so much smaller. I mean, look at that.
that
Again,
when I saw that,
you wouldn't walk around with those, but you could legit carry those with you to work in a coffee shop or at a mobile office or something like that. That's
absolutely, absolutely
insane.
but look at what is it powered with?
Oh no, it needs a computer. It's not
No, no,
like
no, no,
a
no,
self.
no. Ryzen, my friend, Ryzen. Let's come back to the same story. Ryzen,
Bringing it
baby.
back to AMD.
Bring it back to AMD. They're powering everything. It's almost like MediaTek. They're
Oh,
in
do you want to
everything.
see?
You just
Do you want to see those Vuzix? Sorry,
sure.
I can
Yeah,
show
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Now that we're why not? We'll make that into we'll
Let
wrap
me
that
go
into
back.
our marathon of a show. No. Let me see
I mean,
here.
we had a lot to talk about with that Galaxy
I
S21.
know. I know.
So check this out. I mean, it's not the same kind of measured single eye that Focals was. The displays are binocular, so it's dual display.
It
This
is.
looks
Oh,
like it could be a pretty decent step up. So they definitely are chunky. These are not going to be, you know, just lightweight casual glasses. But
they look, yeah, they're about the same size as the Bose eyeglass or the
oh
gentle
yeah,
construct ones.
I
Yeah,
would
they're
have to
definitely cool.
imagine, and probably noticeably heavier.
Oh, okay. Look at that. Yeah, so it's the size of a penny.
And then
No,
it feeds this into a stereoscopic
perfect view.
graphics
Oh,
environment.
nice. And it's that is nice. Okay, so I
Doesn't that
missed
look
on
good?
that is, dude. I wear glasses. I would rock that. That is just this is
I
my jam.
don't wear glasses. I would totally rock that because I look good in glasses. I could pull that off.
I don't think you're gonna look as good as me, man. Let's not talking about
Oh,
competition. It's
I'm
too
not.
late.
You know, I've lost that competition, but
The Vuzix.
I still look pretty
Welcome
good in them.
back.
I was very happy with how I looked in Focals, and I don't
Oh,
need.
no, actually,
So,
Focals actually, honestly, that was when your video made me try to seek out and try to get in touch with somebody, and I did, and anyways, let's not I'm not gonna dwell on the
I'm so
past.
sad you couldn't at least just try them out. I mean, especially like after Josh got to use them too. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is everybody got a chance to. When I did get in touch with them, they were like, you know what? Don't worry, we're working on the next one. Focal
Gen
2 is
2's
gonna be
coming out.
Gen 2 is coming out. Don't worry, we'll
Oh
circle
no.
back and whatever. And like I want to say, almost a week or two before supposedly they were supposed to come out, Google made the announcement, and then I got an email from the same person. Just like, hey, sorry, it is what it is. And nice seeing you later.
So
So
lame.
with that being said, I know CES has come and gone. 2021 has started off with many massive events within the first few weeks of 2021, which um, I hope I hope the year does get better, and I hope you're doing well. And you do, you're able to kind of recoup and get back into somewhat of a norm. And I wish you the best of luck with the A7S III, and I hope it does convert you over, because I think it is going to. But
I mean,
I don't know how
I've
long
been.
you've had it, but however time, you got to
It's
shoot
gonna be a
somebody.
week, but even after that first burst of photos that I took, and just like, oh,
All I
I'm
would say is,
really gonna like this.
yeah.
Oh,
So for reference though, the A7 III is definitely a lot cheaper if you're thinking of picking up maybe a used one at some point. And
it's
it
the
will give
video.
you it's
I want the flip out I mean, that's why I stuck with Panasonic for so long, is I want the side flip out display, and I want 4K 60,
mhm.
and that's what
I know
the A7S
I know
III
A7S III does that,
all
and it does
about,
it beautifully.
and
That's
it's
all I have
so
to say. Es muy
uh,
bueno, my friend, muy bueno.
mm,
So, thank you, Sony, for teasing some
for
gadget guy
my appetite, as it were.
twice now. Like I said, last year they did the A7
So
III. This year
so
the A7S III.
the A7 III, I mean, again, it's exactly what you were talking about, the focus on photography, it took me back to everything that I loved about shooting stills. And
Yeah.
again, having that camera over Christmas last year,
Mhm.
I've got these amazing photos of Lex opening presents, Lex putting ornaments on the tree. We went to Candy Cane Lane, and all
Mhm.
of the just unbelievable bouquet of
Mhm.
lights in the background, as you can see the sparkle in her eye, the magic of Christmas. And it's like having night vision because the camera sensor is just so insane. But I could kind of step back away from that and go back to buying Panasonics because I needed video and I want 60 frames per second.
It is. Yep.
It's so much harder when it's got all that great photo stuff
Yep.
and it can do my work stuff.
That was the reason why it took me forever to upgrade the GH5. it's just that with that the flip out display. Also, we have a new menu system, which is another thing that when you get a chance to play around with it, it's a much more intuitive, more simpler menu system than the pages and pages and pages and pages and pages
Yeah,
and pages and pages.
I'm only scratching the surface, but even just like turning off the display for the HDMI output was like, oh, I
Yeah,
found that right away. That was
yeah,
so much easier.
so much easier than understanding old systems. So short answer, yes, definitely. I'm excited for it to hear your thoughts on this after the whatever you're done with it. Yeah. Actually, so Aditya was asking, is wait, hold on, this A7S3 has a flip out display? Like what? What is that? Oh, look at that. Swivel, swivel, baby. Swivel, swivel. And you could see yourself when you're working. And that cage, Aditya, just seriously, that cage he's using is crazy nice. I don't have mine yet, but anyways,
So not only the flip out display, but going to the chunkier grip. It drove me nuts that the A7 III had a smaller grip with these massive lenses. The grip is smaller on the A7 III than it is on my Panasonic G9. And
it
you
is.
know,
It is.
lenses on Micro Four Thirds are like little baby teacup lenses. You know, like they're real easy to get around
But
with.
full frame lenses are not.
Oof. And the grip on the A7 III was so like front top heavy.
Yeah.
It was so nose heavy. This is
Mhm.
so much easier to hold.
Balance and also so having the right cage on it also helps a lot with mounting things
Yeah,
on it.
with this cage and the chunkier grip, I mean, it feels really nice in the hand. Like it feels like you could, if you had an evolved primate grip with an opposable thumb, like it's not going to slice your hand open. It's pretty nice. It feels really good.
But the question is, will it take a picture? And apparently it does. So
I mean, I did a full photo comparison between the A7S III and the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and for HDR auto photos, I mean, it's no contest. I mean, the iPhone is just the best photo platform you can
sorry,
have.
Tony. Next
If you
time.
just want to like hold a camera up and push a shutter button and like not even tap to focus, I mean, like the full auto. I don't understand why anyone would spend $4,000 on this camera body because an iPhone is pretty much all
It
you
is. It is
need
actually about $4,000. Though you're
for
not kidding.
average consumers to
After
like.
you factor it, exactly, absolutely. Sorry, Sony. Please come back with the
I mean, better
A7S4.
luck next year. I mean, there's some good ideas, but you
We'll-
know, maybe
we-
we'll see them really stick the landing in 2022.
Hopefully they do. I hope they do. But I probably would not be touching the next series because it took me forever to get to this one. So with that being said, I want to say we are almost at the 2 hour mark. I want to say thank you very much for everybody for spending your evening, your mornings. I was going to say your afternoon, but depending where you are, it could be. It is the afternoon. Um, last thing I wanted to maybe just Alt 502 is asking a question, Juan, about those earbuds that you have. Those custom
Well,
are
I
those
answered in
custom?
the chat. I was going to let us
Oh,
kind of wrap up the
oh yeah.
conversation.
Okay, perfect.
If you want to know, they're Mi Audio MX3s. That's a triple driver in-ear monitor with detachable
Oh,
cables, but I use them with custom molds. So I need to reseat my left ear. Like I need to. They've got it like a gel. I should be using
yeah.
the gel.
Some gadget guy answered the question already, but yeah,
Yeah, he's
thank you, Juan,
some
for trying to
jerk in a
take the
hat. I
credit for
hate
that.
that guy. Punch his
Yeah,
face.
he keeps showing up in all of our best of our week
Oh,
shows. I
look
don't
at
know.
me! I'm holding so many phones in my profile picture. Hate that
Uh,
guy.
with that being said, I hope you guys are doing. You're going to be. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe, and I hope you're connecting with your friends and family. You're saying hello to somebody that you haven't talked to for some time. I enjoy spending time with talking to Juan Carlos. I wish we were able to hang out even more in person. Hopefully
Man,
soon.
we're getting there.
Um, and as much as information that came out, there's going to be more obviously conversations still being had. I'm now going to be diving or trying to do some deep dives into AR and glasses, and apparently I missed a massive. I saw the Lenovo ones, and that was exciting for me, but I didn't actually pay attention to some of the other implementations. I was seriously just literally trying to jump between one event to the other, and there is still so much more to check. So there may be more things for us to talk about next week. And I will say again, thank you, Juan, for spending your time with us. Hope you guys had an entertaining show and you learned something. And obviously, we try to share our experience as best as we can in the best manner. And of course, you guys are our best support system. So thank you very much. Like and subscribe as usual. Make sure to subscribe to both Juan Carlos and myself. Information will be in the description below. I forgot to plug that in last few shows that we've done. And I want to say maybe at some point I'm thinking about also starting up an audio version of our podcast, which I think we should be.
Actually, I want to throw that out there. I was gonna wrap up my spiel on this too. If you guys think that maybe saving some of these podcasts or conversations as an audio only feed, let us know, and we can set up the RSS. We can put it on podcasting platforms if it's something that you'd like to take a listen to later. And just kind of putting it out there, some help sharing, kind of spreading the word. And I feel like this is going to be a format for us where we could make this a regular weekly conversation.
Absolutely. And I'm very excited about that. So take care, everybody. Have a good night and good morning, good day, depending where you are. We'll see you guys next week on episode 56. Well, no, not 56. 6. Sorry. 56. We're jumping. 6. We'll see. Yeah, I know. It's late.
Bam.
Take it easy.